Good evening. I'm Herbert Thompson, here with Frontline, and here's tonight's story.
We take a look at Gabor Pollock, an immigrant from Poland. Gabor has had a tough life. After losing both of his parents at an early age, he had to care for his 5 younger siblings. He worked odd jobs throughout his youth until the age of 16, when he came to America in search of an opportunity to improve life for himself and his family. This is his story.
Gabor, thank you for coming tonight. We really appreciate you sharing your story. I think it's going to be very eye-opening for the world. So, to begin, just tell us a little bit about your upbringing. I understand it was very difficult.
I am honored to be here today. I grew up really tough in Poland. I lost my parents at a young age, and I had 5 brothers and sisters. Having to care for them, I was the oldest, so all the pressure was on me to get a job and make money to support my family. And I had worked a lot of odd jobs till I was 16, and I couldn't go to school because I had to work. And it was difficult having to come home every night. Sometimes there'd be no food on the table. It was hard.
So, you came to America at the age of 16. That was a big risk to take. Tell us about some of the jobs you worked since coming here.
It really hasn't changed since I've been here. I'm still working odd jobs, and because I never had an education, I can't get a well-paying job. I'm lucky if I come home with more than $10 in a week. It's all under the table, and it's hard. I mean, I work in the fields, I do construction, odd jobs everywhere. I'm just trying to make ends meet.
So, you've mentioned several times that you had no formal education. Do you feel that that's the main reason for not working other jobs, or is there another reason behind why you haven't taken on a different occupation?
I haven't worked other jobs because I don't have an education. I've never been fortunate enough to get an education. And that's why I'm still working these dead-end jobs, these odd jobs. And I'll never be able to achieve my dream of just tending the rabbits. All I ever wanted to do is just tend the rabbits. Just tend the rabbits. That's all I ever want. And I lack the education to tend the rabbits.
And also, we're interested to know, how do you feel you've been treated since coming to America, especially by employers or people of higher salaries?
My treatment here in America is hard. I mean, there's discrimination in the workplace, and who would rather take my word than his word? The guy on top of the corporate ladder. No one's going to believe me. And I believe that this discrimination carries on over to my wages. And that's why I walk away with only a couple of dollars a day.
Alright, Gabor. Next we'd like to ask you a little bit about the American dream. How would you define the American dream, and what does it mean to you?
The American dream it's something I've always thought about as a child. You'll read about it in books, and you'll think it's all fantasy until you come here. The American dream is just making something out of nothing and becoming someone that you never thought would be possible. And unfortunately, there's that man on the top of the corporate ladder holding me down. I want to talk to him.
Well, Gabor, we'd like to thank you for taking the time to come in today and share your story. I think you really showed a lot to our audiences today, and we wish you the best of luck with tending the rabbits in the future. Thanks again. Now we're going to speak with Michael Rosenburg, the CEO of the construction company that Gabor most recently worked for. Good evening, Mr. Rosenburg. We really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us tonight. First off, we'd just like to know a little bit about your background and how you came into this position of CEO of the construction company.
Well, Herbert, I grew up in a very wealthy family. You see, my parents were owners of this construction business long before I was born. I grew up in a very nice neighborhood and went to private schools and ended up graduating from Harvard.
So just going off the facts here, we understand that you make over $500,000 a year, yet you've never done any of the physical labor involved with your construction company. Do you ever feel that maybe you don't deserve any of that income or status, considering that you virtually inherited everything that came with it?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Herbert. This is what's so great about the American dream, because I can literally do nothing, yet I make more in 1 year than you do in 5.
Well, I'm going to decline to comment on that last statement, but moving on, we'd like to hear you describe how you think your workers are treated, especially the physical laborers at your company.
These workers are uneducated. They're untrained. They're disrespectful. They mean nothing to me. I pay them the lowest wages because they deserve the lowest wages.
Well, that's quite a bold and straightforward approach to the working world. Anyways, we have a bit of a surprise for you now. Gabor is actually waiting outside to speak with you about his current working conditions.